call people to come watch it. So it'll be on the church website, camarillo.sda.org. It'll later be on our CHIP website, camarillochip.info. And then after that, it'll appear on Zell and Ruben's website, Vegetarians in Paradise. That's vegetariansinparadise.com.
Right? No, vegparadise.com. Vegparadise.
Vegparadise.
Yeah.
So it'll be on all three websites, so you'll be able to access them. And Zell is the author of two books. One is called The Nut Gourmet. Was that your first one?
That was the first one, yes.
First one, The Nut Gourmet. And then the next book was called Vegan for the Holidays. So, that's coming up pretty soon. Actually, before we know it, we're going to get into the holiday season. So you might want to check out those two books. They'll be for sale after her presentation tonight. I'm going to pass out the recipes that she's going to be demonstrating for you to have, and time is all yours, Elle. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I love sharing. I love cooking and love sharing. That's part of it. And I have to compliment the church for having this wonderful program, because you really need support when you're making changes in your diet and your lifestyle, and having this opportunity is just fabulous. Also have to compliment the great chefs tonight. Everything was delicious. I ate well. Yeah. So I hope you'll find a little bit of room left over, because I made enough for little samples for everybody to taste. So I hope there'll be a little room left in your tummy. Let me tell you what's on the menu. Over here, I'm doing a garden fresh veggie and bean stir fry. And over here, I'm going to be making a summer confetti kale salad. And over here is going to be a dazzling fruit dessert with strawberry sauce and a little bit of chocolate on top. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is make our veggie and bean stir fry. And this is everything fresh. This is one of these wonderful seasons where everything is just coming in so fresh and beautiful. I'm going to start with tomatoes, and I'm cutting them into wedges, thin wedges, so they will cook quickly. And this is one of those meals that you can serve over brown rice or quinoa, which is one of lots of people's favorites. Do you ever use buckwheat? Anybody ever use buckwheat? It's not that common, but it's such a nice grain. And the nice thing is it cooks up very quickly. 1 cup of buckwheat to 2 cups of water, and it cooks up in 15 minutes. You can't beat that. And it's nice and fast, very convenient. And it has a nice, deep, nutty flavor. So that's kind of tasty stuff. And it's very versatile, too. So fresh tomatoes. A lot of people will cut the little stem, the green stuff, off the tomato, but I never do that. I like to use it all. It's good fiber. Why waste it? It was there for a good purpose. It was meant for us. Good antioxidants in everything that we're growing here. Okay, so bell pepper. Yellow bell pepper. This is a dish with lots of color. Lots of color. It's bright. It's delicious. It tastes the way it's colorful. And I cut these in thin julienne, and then I basically chop them into thirds or fourths sometimes. All right. And we're going to be stir frying that. This is one of those very, very quick meals that if you don't have a lot of time and you got a lot of fresh veggies and you got to have a good meal under your belt before you go someplace, this is a good meal to have. All right. All right, now so if you don't want to do black beans in there, you can do any other kind of beans. Or you could do tofu if you wanted to, or tempeh. Makes a nice sauce. The tomatoes in there kind of break down and make a nice little sauce. And we do onion, a little bit of onion. Now, I don't use fresh garlic in this one. I have garlic powder. It's still got good flavor. Okay, cut it into little just I basically chop it very quickly. Okay. And we're going to get this cooking up in a little bit. Okay. So I think we'll get that going. We're going to add a little bit of vegetable broth. You could use water if you wanted to. Vegetable broth gives it just a little bit of flavor. And the nice thing about this, I'm using about 1/4 cup, not very much. The nice thing about this vegetable broth is that it's very low in sodium, and most vegetable broths are very high in sodium. This one comes from Trader Joe's, and it's the hearty vegetable broth, and it has about 330 milligrams of sodium compared to some of the other brands I've seen at Sprouts or Whole Foods. They have 500 or 600 milligrams. Yeah, it's amazing what a difference. So Trader Joe's, do you have any Trader Joe's around here? Do you? Yeah, thank goodness they're everywhere. Okay. You're going to love the colors. And all these wonderful colors basically tell you there's some really good antioxidants in here. And every different color basically has a different antioxidant. So when you eat lots of good colors, you know you're getting a lot of antioxidants. We went to a luncheon. My husband's learning and retirement group had a meeting of the old and the new board. And they are not vegetarian or vegan or anywhere near. So it came time for lunch, and in the planning, they usually go to the deli and get deli platters, and so Reuben and a couple of other people who were, not into deli platters said, let's do a little something different. And I said, hey, you know what? I'd be willing to make a salad. And somebody else made my Sicilian chili recipe from my Vegan for the Holidays cookbook. And people were lapping it up, and the salad was just it was brilliant colors. It was gorgeous. And I said, this is the way we're meant to eat. This is the food that we're naturally meant to eat, that we're actually drawn to. We're drawn to food with colors. And when you looked at their platters, it was kind of brown, a lot of brown, and, didn't look, and bread. They had the bread, and it just did not look very appealing. But they did like the colors. They did like that. Okay, we're going to add a little zucchini. All right, this summer, if anybody plants a veggie garden, anybody planting a veggie garden this summer? All right. Well, zucchini is one of those veggies that tends to end up being very, very prolific in the veggie garden, as I'm sure you probably already know. And so for the month of July in our Vegetarians in Paradise website, I thought it'd be kind of fun to ask a few different chefs and cookbook authors and bloggers to contribute zucchini recipes, because everybody who plants zucchini usually plants more than they can use. And what do you do with all that? So, yeah. So come to our website when our July issue is up at the beginning of July, and you will see probably at least 10 different recipes. I'm trying to get a few more for what to do with zucchini. And these chefs are pretty creative. Okay. I'm just chopping the zucchini. So, can you see the colors in this? Make your mouth water? I know you're full, but do your mouth does your mouth water? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going to add a little bit of seasonings. Okay. I'm going to do some oregano. Now, if you have other favorite vegetables, you can certainly use favorite vegetables. And if you have favorite seasonings, you can add those. This is one of those recipes is kind of basic. You can play with it a bit, change it up a bit. And thyme. Thyme is one of my favorite herbs. Yeah, anybody familiar with thyme? Do you use thyme? It kind of brightens things up. It has a wonderful fragrance. Matter of fact, you know what, Ruben? Do you want to pass this around so people can... Yeah, I know what thyme. I know you know what thyme it is. Pass it around, let people kind of smell the thyme. It is such a nice, fragrant herb. Thank you. Okay, we're going to have some garlic powder. And yes, did you notice there is no oil in here? I wonder if that can taste good. I noticed that most of the time, people don't miss the oil once they've adapted to water saute. I call it water saute. You can use broth. You can flavor it up with a little lemon juice, a little soy sauce. Matter of fact, I am going to put a little lemon juice in there. A little bit of tomato juice or any other kinds of things. Little flavored vinegars if you want to give it a little zip, you know. So there's so many things you can do. Let's see, we're going to use a little salt, about half a teaspoon of salt. A little bit of salt. Okay. Okay. Now what's happening here is that the tomatoes are beginning to break down and they're creating a little bit of sauce. So we're going to let that cook just a wee little bit longer. I'm going to add a wee bit more lemon juice, vegetable broth. Now I'm cooking this over high heat. Okay, while that's doing its thing, we're going to talk about kale. Now, I don't know if you've encountered kale salads where the pieces are so big that you can't eat them delicately. Have you ever encountered that? You have to wrestle with it, and it's hard to chew those big pieces. So I decided I was going to create a kale salad that anybody could eat delicately and not have to wrestle with. So I made a confetti out of kale. So I'm basically going to pulse it in the processor in batches, and it's going to be maybe not much bigger than 1/4-inch pieces. And then the rest of the salad also, some of the pieces of the salad are going to be also very small. So it looks like confetti. Okay, that's a start. Let me just check on here. I'm going to do a little dance back and forth. Okay. Always good to stand by with a little extra vegetable broth. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do is pulse this. Yeah, there we go. And we do that in batches. Oh, yeah. See how fine that is? Nobody's going to have trouble eating that. No wrestling with kale. Yeah, you don't want to wrestle with your food. Yeah. Okay. Now I got an extra big bunch of kale so that everybody would have a nice little taste. You got room in your tummy after dinner? Okay. So when we teach cooking classes, and the amazing thing is that there are people in our cooking classes who are not particularly young, and they come for the very first time. They've never actually cooked before. We teach at the Glendale Community College Community Services. And it just amazes me how excited they are when they see all these beautiful things and they just decide that it's not so hard after all. They were a little intimidated about the idea of coming and taking cooking classes, but it's doable. It's very doable. Okay. Another little bit of pulsing. Okay. One more little stir. Oh, yeah. Okay. A little bit more. Now this is very nice and everything is nice and tender. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off. And we are going to add some black beans. This was 1 can of black beans. This is you can certainly cook beans from scratch. But this was one of those things that was a very convenient, quick making meal. We're going to add a little bit of lemon juice. And do that so it wouldn't spill. Okay. And we're going to add a whole bunch of spinach. You know, the greens are so good for you. You know about the greens, and you probably heard that with the CHIP program. So I'm doing very generous handfuls of spinach. Let's see how that looks. And with the heat off, what we do is just stir it in, and it wilts. It doesn't have to cook. It just wilts. And it turns a beautiful bright color. And it just folds right, it just kind of blends right in there. Okay, pretty soon you'll see it almost disappearing. You know, people always think they have to cook the spinach, but the heat, the residual heat, is just enough to take care of that. Okay, you notice how it's beginning to wilt down? This probably is the most patient part. It's just the stirring to get the spinach to wilt, but it's doing it. Yeah. Now, how's that for color? Good enough to eat? So now, the final test is the taste. Okay, it needs a pinch more salt. I think we got it. Just a wee bit. Okay. Where are the folks that are going to dish this up? Somebody was going to... okay. Tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to take this. I have a towel if you need, because it's a little hot. If you want to put that on the other side. This is not hot, but that side is, if you want to do it like that. Great. Now, I'll tell you what, then come back, because I also have this to, if you want to warm that up with it, okay? Okay. All right, so we are going to have a nice little bit of help there. All right, back to our kale salad. Yummy kale salad. Okay, basically we do the same thing until we get it all pulsed. Almost there. Okay, so before you started the CHIP program, was kale something new for you? Was it? It's new for a lot of people, but you know, it has become the darling of the food industry these days. Dr. Furman has a T-shirt that says, "Kale is the new beef." Don't you love that? And he is so right. We have a wonderful kale article on our website that Ruben worked on for almost a couple of weeks to get it together. And lots of kale T-shirts have been sold saying all kinds of different things. They are really funny. Okay. So, yeah, we've had a nice appreciation for kale over the years. Okay, so all right, next we're going to, come on, baby. There we go. Okay. We're going to do the same thing with carrot. We're going to cut the carrot into chunks and put that in the food processor, and we're going to turn that into, little bits of confetti. And this turns out to also be a very colorful little salad. This is a big carrot. Okay, we're going to make that a little easier to cut. Okay. All right, more pulsing. And it turns into itty-bitty little pieces. And it looks like confetti. When I looked at this salad, I thought, I got confetti here. A little bit more. Now, this is something you can serve to company because it is so attractive. This is a little spoonula. They usually have big spoonulas, but I like the little ones, and they're hard to find. Williams-Sonoma has them, and they come in so handy because they'll fit into little crevices where the big ones won't. That's one of my favorite little tools. I'm going to do the same thing with red bell pepper, cut it into chunks, and put that in the processor. When you cut things for the processor, cut them about the same size so that when they break down about the same size. That did not cooperate. All righty. Oh, wait till this. I got this nice clear glass bowl just for this little salad because it just shows it off so nicely. And part of making a beautiful salad is showing it off. So oftentimes when I make a salad, I will decorate it before tossing it and bring it to the table looking all gorgeous so that everybody can go, ooh, ah. Okay. Okay, so we're going to toss that up. I'm going to add a little bit of corn. Now, what I would normally do a little bit later on in the summer when fresh corn is available, I just cut 2 ears. I cut the kernels off 2 ears and have raw corn. I usually do the white corn and just cut the kernels off. Don't cook it. It is so deliciously sweet. So, so, so tasty. So some people often say, "You eat raw corn?" Oh yeah, taste it. It's fabulous. You just absolutely cannot miss. And I've got green onions. I did a whole bunch of green onions in there so you could have the benefits. And look at these gorgeous colors. Oh my. I discovered tongs rather than, I used to use, oopsie, whew, a little over enthusiasm there. I discovered tongs, and they really work so much better in so many ways. Now, okay. So in among, to accent the small little pieces, what I've done, I've taken cabbage, just nice, about 4 cups of cabbage, and chopped it into little bigger particles. And when you blend that in, it just stands right out. It looks so pretty. Kind of looks like an accent, you know? Okay. Then we take a little zucchini. Now I've sliced this nice, big, beautiful zucchini. And we're going to decorate this with the zucchini standing up. So you can have fun with artistry, you know, and it isn't just all work, work, work. It's artistry. Food is artistry, you know. There's so many opportunities to do this. Okay. Even at home, you know, even if it's just the two of us, I don't like to miss up an opportunity to basically play with food. So there was this friend who asked about, you know, my cooking, and she said, "But it's all that chopping, and I said, "That's the zen of it. You just have to get into it and enjoy the process. It's part of the process of food enjoyment." Now we've got some cherry tomatoes. How can you not love cherry tomatoes? We're going to arrange these. And of course, yes, we are going to toss this with a dressing, but first I'm going to show it off because it's so pretty. Never miss an opportunity to enjoy the beauty of food. So some people often think they're not creative. But you know what? Everybody has a little touch of creativity. Maybe a different style, different way, but we all have a bit of creativity. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now we're going to make a disaster out of it. Okay. What I've made here, and you have the recipe for it, is tahini Dijon dressing. It's a very rich dressing, and it's one of the recipes in Vegan for the Holidays. And we're just going to be very generous with it. And since I have gloves on, you can toss it with tongs or whatever, but I like to get into my food. So I am going to do that. Then you know every bit has been dressed. Oh, yeah. Oh, my. Now, it's not quite as pretty as it was, but it's still quite lovely. Okay, I think we need a little bit more. Just a wee bit more. Alrighty. Okay, I think it is ready. So if I were going to be serving it, if I really were getting ready for company, I would take a sponge and I would clean that up so it doesn't look quite so disastrous. Okay. Would you like to serve that up? That'd be great. I want you to put that down because my hands are quite a mess. Okay. All right. You're going to be tasting that in a little while. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make our fruit salad. But first, wait a minute, what do I do with that? I have to put on another pair of gloves. I haven't. Ah, here it is. Forgive me for disappearing on you. Okay. All righty, a little shift here. Now you had a beautiful fruit salad for dinner. It was gorgeous. That was really, really pretty. So we're going to do a little something similar. Okay, I have okay, we're going to start with this. Oh, nice. I've cheated a little bit time-wise to save time. I've chopped these up this morning. With fruit, if you're making things in advance, you can't make fruit too far ahead. You can't cut it up too far ahead. I usually do fruit the same day I'm going to serve it, because the next day it just tends to lose its freshness. I add a little bit of lemon juice to kind of preserve it a bit. And I have another. Okay, so what I have in here, and you can certainly use any combination of fruits that you like. I have nectarines, peaches, plums, grapes, apples, and pears. I think that was the combination. And we're going to have some bananas in there and some beautiful mangoes. Gorgeous fruit. Okay, and bananas is another thing you can't do too far in advance. Now, I used to try to peel bananas from the top, but they don't peel as easily. So I discovered that peeling bananas from the bottom. And apparently that's the way monkeys do it. They know the easy tricks. They probably taught us. And a bit more here. All righty, we're going to do a little slicing. Okay. Oops. Some things try to escape. Alrighty, now one of my very favorite knives is this one. It's serrated, so it cuts through everything and anything. It's great on tomatoes. Okay, bananas. So people have often asked, how do you cut a mango? How do you work with a mango? And there's certainly more than one way. Some people peel the whole mango first, but I find that whenever I've done that, I find it challenging to, see, where's my other little knife? There's my little knife. I find it challenging to hold because it gets so slippery. Have you noticed when you peel the whole mango first? So I stand it up on end, and there's usually, a kind of a couple of flat sides. So I start at the top, and I cut down, and you're going to hit a very thin pit. If you've never cut mangoes before, just cut right alongside the pit. It's a nice firm mango. Gorgeous color. And the same thing on the other side. And then I simply cut around the pit, all the way down. Then I cut it into strips, and then I can cut it into small little pieces, basically like this. Some of you may have already done this. What they like to do in Latin America, they'll take a mango and they'll score it into squares, both sides. And, well, I can do that in a little minute. I'll show you. That's another way to cut it. There's never just one way to cut anything. There's a million ways to do whatever you do. Okay. Now this is going to give it that gorgeous golden color. And then I'm going to make a strawberry sauce for you. Oh, that's what it needed, that beautiful golden color. I think color must be my guide for food. I love color. When it's very colorful, it's going to be good. It's got to be good. And oftentimes when I make something that isn't particularly colorful, well, then I look at it and I say, how can I garnish it to make it look more appetizing? All right. So I think I will try that little goodie here. So what they do in Latin America, they'll just score it. And go across this way. Have you ever done this? Anybody ever done this? Have you? Mm-hmm. Then you just simply kind of turn it inside out. It's kind of pretty. Actually makes a nice garnish on something. Isn't that pretty? And then you just cut the little goodies right off the... It is slippery, though. How about that, huh? Okay, don't like to waste anything. Okay, I got one more, and then we go make our strawberry sauce. And who doesn't like chocolate? Anybody doesn't like chocolate? I have actually come across people who don't like chocolate. It amazes me, but yep. Okay. I kind of like that little scoring thing. Pretty efficient, actually. Okay. That is so neat. It's faster, isn't it? One more and we're done. Okay. Then we get a little strawberry sauce. Okay. When we were in Southeast Asia, we were eating mangoes like crazy. Our son lives in the Philippines, and we went to visit him, and we had such a good time just eating tons and tons of mangoes. One day, But mangoes do have a little funny side to them. I don't know about funny, but caution, I guess I could say. So we were eating mangoes, and I think we were cutting them and eating them off the skin. Just kind of eating them like that. And then we went to get dressed to go someplace. And Reuben put his socks on. And we didn't wash our hands. We just wiped our hands on napkins. The next day, or was it that night, his ankles were rashy and he was itching like crazy. But we never figured out what the problem was. And when he came home, he was eating a handful of cashews. And the next day, he was all broken out. And it was just a huge mystery. And then we started looking it up and realized that mangoes and cashews and pistachios are in the same family. And if you're allergic to one, it's very possible you might be allergic to the others. It's also in the same family as poison oak and poison ivy. Yeah, isn't that amazing? So he was off cashews and off mangoes for the longest time. And now he's able to eat mangoes again, which is really a treat because he loves them. He really, really loves mangoes. And it was like agony to watch me eat them and not be able to do that. So what we're going to do now, we are going to make a strawberry sauce. Now, most people would probably put it into the food processor and just kind of mush it up real quickly. And you would get a very smooth, almost liquid sauce. But I like to have a little texture. I like the feeling of the food. And of course, the little chunks of strawberry are kind of nice. So I am going to mash these. I brought a potato masher. I'm going to mash the sauce, and it'll still be quite saucy, but you'll get little chunks of strawberry, which just kind of feels nice. Okay, almost there. Okay. Mashing time. Okay, are you guys able to see this? Am I close enough? Okay. Just get you a little exercise, Work off a few calories making desserts so you can eat the dessert. Okay. Now sometimes it kind of gets caught in here, so you kind of keep your little knife handy. And then we're going to add a little bit of coconut sugar. Now, coconut sugar, it is sugar, but it's a lot less processed than white sugar, and it is never clarified over charred animal bones like white sugar is. You've heard about that, haven't you, or have you? Have you heard about that? White sugar, the thing that makes it white is that it is finally clarified over charred animal bones. When I tell my cooking class this, they're just amazed. So if you buy organic sugar, it has never gone through that final process. It's funny, we don't often know how our food is made. We don't often know the steps it goes through and the processes it goes through. But sugar in its unwhite state would probably make people go, "Ooh, what is that?" So commercial companies like to make their stuff look as pure and, I guess, inviting as possible. Okay, so we got our strawberry, and I cheated. I made some earlier. Now we're going to sweeten it up a little bit with maybe a couple of tablespoons of coconut sugar. And just a wee bit of cinnamon. I said a pinch, but you know what? If you're a cinnamon lover, you can certainly use more than a pinch. I love cinnamon. It's good stuff. Smells good too. That coconut sugar has a very nice fragrance and a little hint of coconut flavor. Now, what I've done in advance, I've made a little extra so we wouldn't run out, so everybody can get a nice little dollop. Okay. There we go. Oh, nice. And our chocolate sauce is right here. Now, this is a chocolate sauce that I get at Sprouts or Whole Foods. If you go into the market and you find Nestle's or Hershey's or whatever, and you look at the ingredient label, you're going to go, it's just a bunch of chemicals. Because that's what it is. It's just a bunch of chemicals. It's amazing. So this has practically no, it has organic cane syrup, water, organic cocoa, xanthan gum, which is a thickener, and citric acid and organic vanilla. That's all. But when you look at others at the market, the list is long and it's just unpronounceable stuff, and you don't want it. You don't want it at all. So here's what we're going to do. All right, and I'm going to get some help from the kitchen staff. We're going to put a little, I think we'll put a little fruit salad in here. And we're going to put our strawberry sauce on top. And then we're going to hit it with chocolate. What do you think? That look good? Okay. Well, there you have it. We've done it. So, would you like to take that to the kitchen? Okay, you can use that spoon if you need to. There we go. Do you have any questions about life or about cooking? Or oh yeah, thank you. Yes, and the chocolate sauce. You bet. There you go. Okay. Any questions that I can answer? Any cooking questions that you've had trouble with, or little challenges in making the transition from what your American lifestyle was possibly to a vegan lifestyle? No cooking questions? No. Boy, Chip did a really good job. No kidding. They did a really good job. Okay, let me a little bit about myself. Reuben and I, that's my sweetie over there. His name is Reuben, but you can call him sweetie like I do. He likes that. We've been vegan for 25 years. We weren't always, vegan. And we ate everything in the past. When we got married, I really did not know how to cook. I really, literally did not know how to cook. My mom was one of those, I was an only child, so she liked everything just so. And with one kid, you can do that. So I was basically chased out of the kitchen. So when we got married, when we were going together, Reuben is a very adventurous eater. He likes all kinds of different cuisines. He'll try everything and anything. He likes new things. So I knew I had to keep up with this guy. I had to keep him happy. The old adage, you get to a man's heart by going through his stomach. It's true. It's true. If you make something delicious, he'll love it and he'll love you too. So little by little, I got to be a rather good cook. But then later on, as we got into our 50s, the weight started going on, and cholesterol went up, blood pressure went up, and I wasn't feeling good. I was lactose intolerant, didn't realize what it was, but I was having stomach troubles. And after going to the doctor and having no results, no good help on that. It was I was going through all kinds of tests. Anyway, it was a friend who said, you know, it might be lactose intolerance. And I said, why didn't the doctor say something? So, and that turned everything around. I mean, that was a huge change. And then I went to another doctor of Oriental medicine. She said, you know, you would do much better on a vegetarian diet. I thought, oh, okay, I want to feel better. I want to feel better. I didn't like how I was feeling. So that began the journey. I also had candida, and so that meant I getting off sugar as well. And that turned everything around too. So little by little, we made our transition very gradually, because this was in the late, in 1989. I'm not that old, I'm 76, not that old. We made our change around 1989, 90, in that period. There was no vegan around. You know, we had no idea what we were doing. There weren't the cookbooks. They were vegetarian, but they weren't vegan. I just wanted to get the dairy away. And so little by little, we experimented. So of course the dairy went first, the meat went next, the chicken went next, and last was the fish. And that wasn't so difficult. You know, if we had to do it overnight, that would have been a little challenging. But over that period of time is when I was going through the learning process of what to eat instead of meat, what to eat instead of chicken, or what to do instead of dairy, you know. So it was a gradual thing, and it kind of helped us stay with it. And we also noticed that the weight went down without even dieting. We weren't trying to lose weight. I lost 30 pounds. Ruben lost 25 pounds without trying. It was just a matter of focusing on more vegetables, more plant-based foods. And so it was, and we felt so much better. So when we teach our cooking classes, we do hands-on cooking classes, several people have said, yeah, we've recently gone vegan and we can't believe the energy. That's the statement that they make all the time. When they start bringing more fruits and vegetables into their diet, they say, I can't believe the energy. And that's the most encouraging thing that gets people staying on it, that they feel better, totally. So, any questions, really? No questions? Well, thank you. Appreciate being here. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. You'll get to taste in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll while we're waiting for the samples of the fruit. Can you tell them a little about your kind of philosophy on how you develop your recipes and what's your approaches to flavors and tastes and spices?
Well, people have often asked where I get my inspiration. Sometimes going to the farmer's market. Sometimes I'll be going through a magazine, or I'll see maybe sometimes a single vegetable, a single fruit. I'll say, wow, that looks beautiful. If it's a gorgeous zucchini or something, I can get excited. Matter of fact, one woman said, gee, she even gets excited about radishes. And yeah, and I too. I find beauty in food. And that sometimes can just be a spark for something. Or sometimes oftentimes I'll get my inspiration early in the morning when I'm just waking up. And I'm always picturing food, what I can do with food. How can I change this? What can I come up with to taste like this or that? And sometimes it's a flavor. It'll be a particular flavor that I'm aiming for. Or a particular cuisine. I need to do something. Matter of fact, in September and October, I'm doing 2 cooking demos on Mexican cooking at the Rosemead County Library. And what the manager asked me to do is kind of research a little history and talk about the history of the food and some unique regional dishes. And what I discovered in learning about this is that, we tend to think about Mexican food as tacos and tortillas and burritos and ranchera sauce, but it's so much more than that, because just like we have states, in Mexico there are different states, different regions, And the North and the South have very different cuisines. In the East and the West, very, very different cuisines. And so it's going to be a fun thing. So that's, a little inspiration too. If I'm curious about something, we traveled to Southeast Asia last January before this, and I came back all inspired to cook Southeast Asian style, and it was a wonderful experience. So inspiration comes from everywhere, and it's a matter of just thinking creatively about food, and let the food talk to you. And it does. It speaks and it calls. And sometimes you can look out in the garden if you're planting anything, and you look at the tomatoes beginning to ripen. You're going, what can I do with that other than just chop it up and eat it? So does that sort of?
So let's say you're not SOS free.
Not completely, no.
How do you approach that? How do you?
Well, I am cutting down on salt. I am a saltaholic, I confess. I like salt in my food. So I'm cutting down because I realize that is important. But going oil-free is no problem. Once in a while, if I'm roasting like drier vegetables, like if you want to roast beets or carrots, they're pretty dry. I find that I can roast zucchini, I can roast bell peppers, onions, that kind of thing, without any oil. But on the drier vegetables, I do use a little tiny bit of oil, just to kind of keep them moist, and it helps them to not dry out completely. Let's see, sugar, it's funny that the small amount of sugar that I use is mostly in baking, and I haven't done a whole lot of baking lately. I tend to our dessert tends to be more fruit than anything else. So it's company. When company comes, that's when I do things that basically use more sugar. Oil has been the easiest to give up. And the sugar, like I say, if I use a pinch of sugar, I kind of think I can get away with it. But I don't use gobs of it. And we drink water or seltzer, sparkling water as our regular beverage. We don't drink juices, and we don't drink sodas, and we don't drink sugary anything. I know people have come over our house with cans of, I don't know what, all kinds of stuff. I'm sure you've seen it. We go in the grocery store, and people are loading up their shopping carts with these colorful soda bottles, and I'm going, oh no, oh no, oh no. And I'm looking at them, and I'm seeing, we live near San Fernando, a very Hispanic area, and we like to shop in ethnic markets. So we find, we'll look around and we'll see whole families that have serious weight problems, and no doubt they probably have diabetes issues too. And what are they doing? They're loading up their carts with white bread, a lot of white bread, and sodas, colorful sodas. And I'm going, oh no. And the children are plump. They're getting a bad start. So I feel bad for them. So when I do a little pinch of sugar, I feel that I can get away with it. You think I can? You think I can? Okay. Yeah.
Have you found anything that matches the taste of bacon that you can make?
Bacon.
I really miss bacon.
Fakin' bacon. Have you tried fakin' bacon? Do you know what it is? Light Life makes a tempeh bacon.
Oh yeah, I tried that.
Okay. They make two kinds. They make the long strips out of tempeh, and you actually see the beans. And then they have this other kind that looks kind of like bacon. The fakin' bacon does not look like bacon, really. It's strips, but it doesn't look like bacon. And it's got a really nice flavor.
I've tried that tempeh one that you're talking about, but have you tried the other one that looks more like it? Because it looks kind of rubbery.
I have tried it, and I didn't care for it, and it just didn't feel like food. I like things that feel like food. Yeah. I like the real stuff. Yeah. Occasionally, when we go out, we'll have some fake meats on something. If we go into an Asian restaurant, but for the most part, I like real food. Yeah, so bacon, maybe a little bit of miso might give you that salty flavor, and a little bit of maybe liquid smoke. I haven't really tried that combination, but I just now thought that maybe that might be a possibility to give you that salty, smoky kind of quality. Yeah, yeah. I'd be curious if you do that. I'd be curious to know how you make it work. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And send us an email at vegparadise.com. I would love to know. Yeah, because I would love to know if we can make bacon tasting out of something that tastes like food. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you use fennel seeds any in cooking?
Do I use what?
Fennel.
Oh, fennel. Oh, I love fennel. Yeah, the seeds, you mean? Yes. Fennel flower.
With the fun fennel blossom.
Oh. No, I haven't. I use fennel seeds, and I like to grind them in a little mortar and pestle, add them to an Italian tomato sauce. Gives it a nice Mediterranean flavor. And I've done it in Middle Eastern dishes. That's really nice. And we buy anise, the fresh anise bulb that has kind of a fennel-y sort of flavor. But fennel flowers? No. And I'm sure they're edible. Yeah. How have you used them?
Well, someone was telling me today you can make fennel tea.
Oh, fennel tea. Oh, so now I would probably use the seeds to make fennel tea, but I bet you could use the flowers to make fennel tea. Sure. That sounds good. Anybody else have any challenges for me? No challenges? Oh, come on, you must have a challenge for me. Like the bacon, that was a good idea. How do I come up with bacon, huh? Yeah. Yes.
Have you tried the
Eggplant bacon. No, is it a product or?
You actually do it yourself, and you use soy sauce and a little bit of liquid smoke, and you can dehydrate it, or you can bake it in the oven.
Oh,
It's crispy, and it really has a nice flavor to it. You can add it to salads, but you gotta eat the salad pretty quick because it will add moisture.
so you would cut your eggplant rather thin, and then season it up with soy sauce and a little smoke, a liquid smoke.
And I have a couple of recipes that I can bring you through.
That would be great.
Would you send a recipe to vegparadise.com? Good. I gather recipes. I'm a gatherer. We have a little lettuce patch, and I gather lettuce. We are growing tomatoes, and I got a parsley patch. So yeah.
Let's get some samples for next
Yeah.
month. Vegan Farmation.
I'll bring some tomatoes and lettuce.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe we'll make it breakfast themed.
You guys are going to eat well next month.
We always eat well.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Zell. Well, I think Zell has found ways that makes the healthy eating more palatable, more attractive. I think one of the things that I got out of the nutrition conference up in San Francisco was the cooking presentation that they did, and I hope we can get this person to come down here and do some cooking demonstrations. Her theme was from yuck to yum.